It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. And look who I have back with me again. RJ, it's always a pleasure. How are you?
Hey, love. I'm doing all right. Doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. I mean, kind of. We were just talking before this, and RJ and I seem to have the same we do the same of a lot of things, by the way. Last week, we were dressed the same, not on purpose.
Yes.
And this week, we both have... So RJ has something going on with this side of his face, and I had an allergic reaction, so I spent my whole holiday weekend looking like a chipmunk. Oof. That's okay. We still rock it. We'll rock the swollen faces.
Let's go on. And even with swollen faces, we still look phenomenal.
All right. I need to bottle that confidence and keep it with me. I appreciate that. All right. So, guys, before we get started on part 3 of the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion, you know how this works. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. And yeah, let's jump right into this mess. And guys, obviously, everybody's heard the news for the Real Housewives of Potomac. Monique will not be coming back. We'll jump into that. But first, I guess let's start off by, I want to ask you, what was your favorite part of part 3 of the reunion?
My favorite part was when Chris defended his family and Monique, by far.
Okay.
It was very touching, and I just love that he stands by Monique through everything, and he supports her, he loves her, and he mentioned that he loved her even more now, seeing what she went through and her strength that she had while she was going through it. And I think everybody should want a partner like that in life. That is just so amazing.
Yeah, and we'll definitely jump into that too. But since we're talking about Monique, Monique came out yesterday and said that she will not be coming back to the Real Housewives of Potomac because she just feels like now there's a line that's been crossed with her family that she can't really come back from. You're friends with Monique. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I believe that no matter what we do in life, family comes first. Family must always come first, in my opinion. I feel like they tried to destroy Monique's family. They persecuted her this season. And I mean, when do you say enough is enough? When do you say, okay, this is a TV show and all of the extra stuff is just not worth it? When do you say, okay, I need to end this now and have some type of peace of mind because this is just rolling over into my personal life much more than I anticipated? I mean, where do you draw the line? I feel like she made the right decision. Monique does not need the show. Monique was an asset to the show. She has the talent and the brains to do whatever it is that she would love to do in life. And I want to see her soar. The show was a great platform for her to showcase her talent, to showcase her businesses. And now, it's up from here for Monique.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's interesting to me, and I don't know if this threw you off guard at all, but when we're watching, or watching the reunion, we find out right after that Monique decided to leave the show. But there was a voice memo that just came out a few days ago about how, she's not fired and she would potentially be coming back. What do you think changed in between that time?
Probably seeing the way she was edited. Probably, listening to maybe her family around her, maybe saying, look, it's just not worth it. It's not worth your family to be on this show where they are trying to destroy you guys. Like, I mean, I think there was probably a lot of variables at play, but ultimately, like I said, I think that she made the right decision. I mean, yeah, she got a contract, but to me, that really doesn't mean anything if you're going to sacrifice your family for that contract, to sacrifice, you know, kind of like your soul. Like, are you going to risk all of that just for a TV show? At the
Right.
hey, it's just supposed to be a TV show. It's never supposed to run this deep. It's never supposed to run and it's never supposed to be so woven into your personal life that it's now affecting your children. Like, it's never supposed to be that deep. So
Right. All right. Well, I want to say really quick thank you to Amy Davis. She said, Pops, happy holidays. Love you. Pops, I hope you're watching. Guys, we have 250 in the room. Go ahead, hit that like button. Before we go on and start talking about the actual reunion, I feel like you're a good person to ask, just because you do have a friendship with Monique. A lot of people are coming out and saying, and this is just so fresh. This is just like ripping a Band-Aid off. It just happened. But there are going to be a lot of people, and there already are a lot of people who are saying, oh, okay, well, Bravo let you have your moment to say whatever you wanted, but you were fired. And unfortunately, she can't, unless like she prints out or scans her contract onto her Instagram and shows everybody, which she doesn't need to do, and she doesn't owe anybody that. People are going to say you were fired. Just admit you were fired. Do you have any thoughts for the people who will be the naysayers?
yeah, refer to my Instagram at RJ.Allan, and you'll see and hear what she says. She had received the contract. So for all the naysayers, I mean, like, what are you saying? She said that she received the contract, and she did receive a contract. So
okay. And I'm actually curious now to see, because again, we're about to jump into this, but this is obviously fresh. This is new and news. But Candace Dillard-Bassett was not going to, at least she said she was not going to, return to the Real Housewives of Potomac as long as Monique was returning. Do you feel like she's having her own little celebration right now, kind of knowing that Monique's not coming back, therefore it's a safe platform for her to return to?
she should be counting it as a loss because Monique was her story.
Okay.
Monique was her whole story.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Okay. Well, then let's jump right into the reunion then, because this reunion had a lot going on. But again, a lot of it was about, Monique and Candace, and that's how we started it back off. Candace walked off the set, and then she ends up returning after getting a little bit of liquid courage from Chris. She returns back to the set, but Andy Cohen was adamant about holding Monique responsible for her actions. And it seemed like a lot of people were very upset with Andy because they feel like, he was very one-sided in defense of Candace and really not there for anything that Monique had to say about the altercation. But when asked about the legal or the legalities of it all, Candace said that she had no choice but to file charges because she said the media was getting information about the fight before it aired. Monique ended up acknowledging that she knows the friend who leaked the information, leaked the story to the press, but she denies any sort of involvement in that. Were you shocked when Monique said that she knew who leaked all of this information to the press?
Not at all, because I know who leaked it as well.
Okay.
We had a really good source. When I say we, I mean the Black socialites, Kyle and I. We had a really, really good source. That was the source who told Kyle. And Kyle broke the fight. Kyle broke the Candace and Monique fight. They never gave him credit for it, but he was the one who broke it. And it all came directly from this person who shall remain nameless. But yeah, I know exactly who it is. I was not surprised. So, but yeah, I feel like, the second part of the reunion, I was like, okay, Andy is just trying to hold Monique accountable, and he's gonna, give her heat and then move on. This third part, he was relentless. So it kind of changed my views from when I saw the second part reunion to the third, I was like, wow, like what's going on? I mean, he even joked and laughed at some of the things that Monique was saying, along with the rest of the women. And at one point, he even said that you're a music artist. Like, how could you not know that Monique was an artist? Like, I think her first scene in season 2, I think she rapped. Like, if anybody should know what's going on with these ladies in the housewife universe, it has to be Andy. Like, so when he said that, I was shocked. I was floored. It was almost, I was just like, really? Like, how could you not know that?
But do you feel like that could have just been a little bit of low-key shade from Andy?
Could have been. I think I want to say, and I don't know this for sure, but I want to say when Andy, I don't know. I just feel like Andy probably went a little too far.
Okay.
And I think that he will notice and realize that, okay, maybe I did go a little bit too far. You know, like even with his comments about Karen and Ray's penis.
Yeah.
It I just feel like Andy, he'll look at it again and be like, okay, maybe I should have reserved some of those comments and been a little more neutral.
Okay. Well, people are saying, we have Sierra Johnson who says Monique rapped for Andy in another finale. Marry me. I don't want to say that wrong. Andy crossed the line. And then someone else said, one tall girl. Whoop. Wow, the comments are coming in so fast. Monique said she rapped in her very first episode. Andy was so rude about this in part 3. No, I just want to go back and revisit this for a second, because Monique acknowledging the fact that she did know the person who ended up leaking the story, she didn't have to acknowledge that. She could have went on and pretended like, no, I actually don't know who it was. I had no involvement. And that would have just been it. I mean, everybody else claims to have no involvement in other storylines that pertain to Monique. So had she have just went on with that, I would have believed her in saying that she didn't know. So the fact that she owned it and said, I know who it was, but I had no involvement in it, I was like, oh, okay. That was a little bit shocking to me.
And this is absolutely true. And you want to know how I know? Is because I was on the phone with Kyle. When Kyle broke the story, I was on the phone with him when Monique messaged him in his inbox and said, who told you? Kyle and I, we were always on the phone. The Black Socialites was always something going on. So when he broke the story, he caused a whirlwind on the page, and she immediately messaged him, and he was like, "Bitch, guess who just messaged me?" I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to curse."
No, you're okay. You're okay.
That's how he talked. He was just like, "Guess who messaged me?" I said, "Who?" He was like, "Monique." He was like, "She want to know why." She wants to know who told me about the fight. And then after that, other details started coming in from Chris Bassett.
Okay. So then they were coming in. Okay. Before we get to Chris Bassett, I do want to talk about Ashley Darby and Monique's relationship, because it seems like everybody, first of all, I want to say for Ashley Darby, being pregnant on the set for 11 hours and sitting there taking the jabs for Michael Darby and kind of being that punching bag on his behalf, kudos to her, because she maintained her composure the whole time. She didn't really snap. But when she was asked about her loyalty to Monique and if she felt bad for writing the letter on behalf of Monique, she doesn't feel bad. And she feels like she has loyalty because Monique has had a lot of stuff on Ashley in the past that she could have easily raked her name through the mud, but she never did. And Monique just pretty much went on to say, like, I don't get on like that. That's not me. I wouldn't do that. And that's why Ashley Darby kept her loyalty with her, as opposed to here on the other side. And I don't want to sit here and make this a bashing thing for Candace, but for Candace, who's waving a knife around Ashley's face and continuously on set is calling her husband a creep, especially when she's pregnant again. There's a lot of emotions going through her head. But were you shocked at all about Ashley Darby's response as to why she is so loyal?
No. I wasn't shocked because Ashley is a real person. You know what I'm saying? And for Monique to have whatever she has, and you know that Ashley has told her in confidence, and hasn't said a peep, and has just remained in Ashley's corner overall. I think that that's all you need. You know what I'm saying? That's all you need in a friend, is to be loyalty, and that trumps everything else at the end of the day.
But if you look at the situation as a non-biased person, say that you have no feelings towards Monique, no feelings towards Candace, just in general, from something that Giselle said, I'm wondering if you can understand it and understand where Giselle was coming from in the moment where she was talking about Ashley actually writing the letter on behalf of Monique. Because Giselle said, you know, I could understand if she wrote a letter saying how great of a mom Monique is, how good of a friend she is, how she's seen all of these amazing sides of her, but that's not the letter that she wrote. The letter that she wrote was almost like what Giselle would call a character assassination on Candace. Can you agree with that in any capacity, or no, you feel like you completely understand why Ashley wrote the letter the way she wrote it?
Ashley experienced firsthand what it's like to experience Candace's fury on the opposite side. She knows what it's like. She experienced it at Candace's home, her home, and I feel like Ashley, uh, that letter was was how it was supposed to be. I see
Okay.
no problem with it.
Okay. No, that's fair. And I was just curious because when Giselle said that, and guys, I want to say almost 850 in the room, go ahead and hit that like button. Let's see if we can get to 1,000. Last week, we got to 1,500. RJ has a goal of 2,000 this week.
Yes.
But no, I do want to say, you know, Giselle kind of stumped me in that moment when she made that comment, because I was in my head like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of a good point. She could have wrote a letter that, you know, was really just boasting how Monique is great in these different situations, but she did end up writing a character assassination letter. But then I also understand it from what you're saying. She's experienced this and she's been in this situation with Candace before. So who better out of all of the women, aside from Monique, to write this letter, which would be Ashley.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, moving on, I want to talk about Karen, because Karen was another person who she just is considered to be a little bit of a flip-flopper this season when it comes to whose side does she take, and, you know, setting up for Monique and Candace to show up at the same time to the wig shift with the bang party, and trying to maneuver where she really stands in the group, because she really walked, you know, she walked on the fence with this. She didn't necessarily say that I'm here for Monique and I'm team Monique. And she also didn't say I'm team Candace. She was just like, I'm team right and wrong. And I think that they both have rights and they both have wrongs.
Right.
Monique responded to her in one way where she was just like, listen, I understand, you know, Karen held me accountable. She broke it down for me, told me where I was wrong. Whereas Candace was not having it. Candace is like, there's nothing that I could have said to Monique in that moment that should have warranted her physically assaulting me. And for that, she doesn't understand why Karen could be walking the fence. Do you have any opinions on that?
Yes. So Karen, first of all, she had a tough position. I mean, what a tough position to be in when you have two friends that have duked it out and you're kind of in the middle because you love both of them. How do you balance that? What does that exactly look like? How do you uh how do you spare both of their feelings? How do you take that into account? It's very difficult, especially to do that on national TV. It's very hard. I think that overall Karen did a good job at trying to balance that out. I really feel like she's a good friend. You know, she held both of them accountable. And like you said, it was kind of like a right or wrong thing. Like she said it like it was. And at the end of the day, there was really no rebuttal from Monique when Karen held her accountable. But for Candace, she said a lot of things to Karen because of the way Karen was trying, because of Karen's neutral stance. And one of those things were she told Karen to burn in eternal hell, which then Candace went to the Bravo execs.
Well, Karen went to the Bravo execs.
Yeah. Karen went to the Bravo execs. And that's the thing, like, Candace goes overboard a lot. And that was one of the moments, yet again, that she went overboard.
Okay. Grandma Scary said, missed you guys. Thank you, Grandma Scary, for the support. Guys, again, go ahead, hit that like button. But I do want to talk about this comment that was happening, or the comment that the text that Candace sent Karen, because, that obviously threw Karen off guard. And Candace feels like Karen was trying to get her to lose her job in this moment after sending that text. For anybody who doesn't know, when you sign a contract with Bravo, in that contract, like Karen said, this is pretty much public common knowledge, but a lot of people don't know this. They do give you some sort of therapy setup. So if you go through a situation that's traumatizing, or if you're on the show, whatever franchise you're on, and you're talking about something that's really hard and brings out a lot of feelings, they offer some sort of therapy for the people to be okay, right? But for Karen, she, after getting this text message, was feeling that Candace was just taking all of this and going to way new heights. So she reached out to Bravo and the bosses, and she said she needs therapy. Candace took that as she was trying to get her job taken away from her. Do you have thoughts on that? Do you feel like that's what Karen was aiming for?
No, not at all. I don't feel like Karen was trying to stop Candace's bag. Yet again, I felt like Karen was trying to be there. Karen is the matriarch of the show. That's obvious. She was trying to be there for Candace. And Candace sometimes presents herself to be a little unbalanced. And sometimes it looks like the show might be too much for her based off the thing that she said, based off things that she says. And when she lashes out, and it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, are you really saying these things? When is enough going to be enough? When are they going to hold her accountable? She said so much. She's done so much. When are they going to hold her accountable? And speaking of them, somebody had to hold her accountable in that moment, and it was Karen. Karen held her accountable. She let the Bravo execs know, and Candace, she, like she always does, she cried about it. At this point, I feel like Candace uses, like, she says all these vile things, and then she cries, victim. At this point, to me, it's a psychological tactic. I can say what I want to say, make you upset, lash out, and then I cry. Because that, you're going to feel sorry for me, and I'm the victim. It's just absurd.
Okay. Well, Simone says, Bravo, Andy, and Giselle are detrimental to reality TV. If Monique is out of Real Housewives of Potomac, so am I. I love Karen, but can't support Giselle, Andy, and Bravo anymore. Wow. A lot of people have some really, really, really hard feelings about this. No, I do agree with in the sense that, again, I don't ever want to make this a witch hunt on Candace. I already told you I did an interview with Candace, and she was nothing but sweet to me. So I haven't experienced the wrath of Candace. But I feel bad for anybody who has, obviously, because just like somebody putting their hands on somebody, words are just as powerful, and it's uncalled for. When it comes to Candace, though, and everything that she's been saying, whether it's on Twitter or text messages or whatever the case is, you just made a good point. Maybe this platform is too much for her and her mental state, because her husband, at the end, when they were asking the husbands about saying anything before they get off the set, like kind of their last words, he just said he wants his wife back, because he says for the past year he feels like he kind of lost the person who he married. And that could be because Candace might be in a little bit of a mental, kind of insane headspace with trying to deal with all of the ramifications of the show coming out, the social media outlash. Like, it's been insane, but you have to be a strong personality to be able to deal with this stuff. And you just maintain that you feel like maybe she's not the strong enough personality to handle a reality television platform.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't really know of too many people that are on national TV that go and wish death on people on their lives. She went on her live and she literally wished death on my friend. And even though she wasn't the cause of his death, ultimately 2 months after that, she knew very well what he was going through. She knew that he was sick, and she harped on it. And how she knew was because of Chris. Chris and Kyle, they were in constant communication. So she took that information, and on that live chat, she went there and wished death upon him. She called him fat, and she said all the fat around his heart and all this nasty, vile stuff. So to me, Adam, I'm so sorry, but it's always going to be personal a bit for me, because he did pass away, and that did resonate with him. You know, he said, maybe I should be dead. Maybe she's right. So to me, I think that she needs to be held accountable more. Andy saying, you know, your life will be better if you stay off Twitter, to me, it's not enough. It's not enough. Her homophobic remarks, wishing death, and her rants, it's just like, where do we stop this?
So you're never going to change you're not, I mean, obviously it is personal to you. You're never going to change your position of feeling like just she does not deserve this platform.
The thing about it is, last night on the reunion, she mentioned that, you know, after Monique apologized to her, she mentioned that, oh, it's been 365 days and I wish I would have received apologies somewhere in there. Yet she wished death upon my friend. It's been months. She's yet to say anything. So to me, that lets me know who she is as a person. That lets me know who she is, you know, her whole character. How can you wish death upon somebody? They pass away 2 months later. You said what you said publicly as a public figure, and you not say anything. She is a hypocrite if there ever was one.
Why do you think Bravo has to know about this, right?
Because, I think Bravo is going forward with her because she got beat up and they want to give her another chance because she was attacked.
Okay, but that still doesn't justify, I mean, no offense, but your friend Kyle didn't beat her up.
Right.
So that doesn't justify a lot of the comments, or like you said, if there were, I mean, well, there were, and she did actually apologize for the homophobic slurs that she had.
Exactly.
But I'm just surprised, you know, what the actual line is for a network like Bravo. Again, I always say this, I don't want to make it a witch hunt, but I think a lot of us have the same questions and trying to understand, why is one wrong, this wrong, and this other wrong is only this wrong? You know, what is the difference? Why is this one worse than this one?
Right. I don't understand it. I don't work for Bravo, but I can tell you one thing is I don't know anybody who goes around casually wishing death on people. I don't know, like that's almost, to me, it's unimaginable. You know, I can't even comprehend it fully. So it's just like, if she can have the gall to do that on her live, being on the show, and be okay with that, sleeping that night, knowing that he's gone and knowing that she said that and didn't apologize, but she quickly responded to the homophobic tweets that were against her. Like, to me, that lets me know everything I need to know about Miss Candace.
Okay. Well, I want to switch this up for a second, because in a different light, when it comes to Candace, there was this plot again. Guys, 1,300 in the room. Let's see if we can get to 1,500. Hit that like button for RJ, especially coming on and talking about these emotional topics that hit home for RJ. So just to be fair, you know, you do, like you said, you have a personal connection to this topic. But I want to move back over to the Monique and Chris's baby and the plot against the plot. And they're saying the plot. The other people are saying, or the other housewives are saying, there was in fact no plot. Candace did come on and say that there was a plot against them and that she never had any involvement in the plot. So that would almost show as if she were trying to be a friend in that moment, right? At some point for Monique, because she didn't want anything to do with this false narrative of her child not belonging to Chris. But then how did it get so ugly? Because it seems like when Giselle and Robin and everybody, when they were sitting around talking about this, Candace knew it was wrong. So she didn't want to be a part of it. And she chose not to be a part of it. And she was actually the one who chose to expose it.
Yeah, to me, it's just like, why lie about it when Candace, she exposed the plot on her live. That was the same live chat that she, said all those other nasty things. That was the same live. It exists. It's out there. The ladies knew that she did that live, I'm pretty sure. So for them to continue to act like it didn't happen, I guess none of them seen it. None of them seen it. But Candace herself, somebody who was on the opposite side of the fence when it comes to Monique, she exposed that plot. I don't understand why there wasn't some accountability from these ladies. It's just like, it's just murky, it's messy. And again, it lets you know more about their character.
Okay. Well, Andy kept saying this the whole time. Andy did not understand why Chris Samuels was so heated when, in fact, this was never brought up on camera. But then when they rolled the tape back, Chris was the one who initially brought it up on camera. And I know, again, you're friends with Chris and Monique, but do you feel like, just for me watching as a viewer, when Giselle walked in and he said, "Isn't he so cute? He looks like who does he look like? He looks like his daddy," right? It seemed like Chris was trying to take control of that whole narrative before it ended up running like wildfire and just kind of indirectly calling it out right then and there. But from that, the ladies are saying, "Well, you brought it up. We didn't bring it up."
To me, that was just a father saying, "Hey, look, doesn't my son look like me?" It's as simple as that.
So you feel like that had nothing to do with him potentially knowing about this alleged plot?
I feel like, I know that these rumors have been brewing around for years, and it wasn't brought up on camera. The whole fact of the matter is that I'm privy to some information. So even though he said that on camera, and I feel like he said that, he could have said that to get ahead of the situation. But the fact of the matter is, this is factual. Giselle wanted to take the trainer and the paternity of Monique's and Chris's son. She wanted to take that to TV single-handedly. She took the information from Gigi and she took the information from Charisse. And because she's on the show, she was the one that wanted to take it to production. She was the one.
So who was the actual friend in this instance who took it and let Monique know ahead of filming, like, "Hey, this storyline is coming. I'm just being a friend and letting you know that these women are plotting against you. You need to take control over this." Is that even public knowledge who that friend was? Because Monique obviously wasn't sitting at the table with them when they were allegedly plotting this storyline. And she had to find out about it from someone, whether it was a producer, whether it was one of the women. And usually the producers don't expose things like that. They just kind of let it run and see what happens. That way, all of the reactions are organic.
Karen, being the good friend that she is.
Okay. So Karen gave her the heads up.
Yep.
Okay. And that, and that is being a good friend. I want to put this up here. Tracy said, "Thank you for the super chat. That conversation with Chris and Giselle was unaired footage. Giselle's confessional was aired on the show."
Right.
Okay. And Santene, that was Chris putting Giselle on notice that they knew about the conversation. They all had the plot that was in the works. I felt the same way, honestly. When he brought it up, I felt like he did know about the conversation, and that's why he brought it up. But also, you know, it's all hearsay at this point. We don't actually know. What we do know was Chris's reaction on the third part of the reunion, and he wanted people to be held accountable.
Yes.
But a lot of people, this is another example of where people were really upset with Andy, because people felt like Andy was kind of dismissing Chris every time he would try to bring this up by just saying it wasn't aired. It wasn't brought up on the show. But for Chris, he knows that there were moments that Giselle still purposely filmed that was unaired, and they showed it, unaired footage from season 5 with Giselle and Robin. He knew about these moments, so that's why he wanted to address it. But in Andy's defense, he's like, we didn't air it. We shouldn't even be talking about this, and this shouldn't be a topic of conversation for this reunion.
I mean, yeah, that was intense. I mean, Chris, he definitely apologized profusely, you know, for his words towards the ladies, and he took accountability. But at the same time, you have to realize that any good parent would be infuriated if the paternity of their child was questioned by people. And you do this on a national platform. That has to be tremendously hurtful. And how could you not know that coming on to the show and being at the reunion that Chris was going to be upset? You guys try to destroy that man's family. Yes, he's going to be upset. Yes, he's going to be infuriated. Why wouldn't he be? You're talking about his kid, his youngest child. You're saying that this child is not his. And his anger was not misplaced.
Okay. Well, Ashley said, thank you for the super chat, Ashley. I do not understand how they did not highlight Candace's live about the plot. She brought that to light, but shows Chris and Monique's live. Technically, they did show Chris and Monique's live, where Chris is sitting there. And guys, we're almost at that 2,000. We're at 1,650. Go ahead, hit that like button. Yeah, let's get 2,000 for RJ. But no, you know, it is true. They did show this live when it came down to Chris and Monique, and Chris saying the things that he said, which was very intense, just to be fair, and said he wishes he, you know, had a Bruce Jenner moment. And if he were a girl, then he would be stomping some people. And I don't know word for word verbatim, but I know he was mad. Okay. And Monique was sitting there knowing she had to have known, like, just like anybody who has a public platform, as soon as you put that on a live or on the internet, there are people who are screen recording you the whole time as soon as you go live, because they're waiting for you to have that mess up or that kind of mishap. And Giselle took that, and she, I don't want to say played on it, but she ended up getting security and having security come to the reunion. Do you feel like that would be, would that be considered a reach on Giselle's part?
More than a reach, because there's already security there. There's already security there on set. And for her to bring her own security, the same way she brought security for Monique, honey, you are not that important.
And just to be fair, I know that you never know what a person is capable of, right? We don't, you know, you only really know what yourself, like what you're capable of. But do you think that there could have been any part of Giselle's mind that would have really thought or feared for her safety at the reunion when it comes to Chris Samuels?
No way. She's jealous of Monique and she's jealous of Chris. And that's why you saw the reaction that you saw against Chris from Giselle when he was trying to talk to her. I think she said something like, leave me the fuck alone, or something she said. It was just like, and Chris was like, whoa, like it's a lot of resentment there. She wishes that she had the life that the Samuels live, and she goes overboard for what reason, I don't know, but she does. It's just like, honey, please. If you were that nervous, you should have had your man to defend you, Jamal Bryant. He should have been behind your back, not no security guard. When there's already security there, everybody knows that there's always security on the set. You are just a she's a child. That's what she is, a child.
Well, there was a moment, and I didn't actually catch this live. Apparently Jamal did a live talking about how, and I don't know if you caught it, and this might not even be true. I just saw this in comments, and it could just be hearsay, but they were saying that Jamal allegedly said that Chris had to be taken off the set by security, but that he was never taken off the set by security.
Did not happen. That's because Jamal listened to everything that Giselle said instead of fact checking.
But did Jamal actually say that?
Yes. I think I can't remember exactly, but I think it was something like that. Either way, he made accusations against Chris that were just out of this world. It's just like what? What are you talking about? Did you fact check anything? But I can't say in confidence that he said exactly that because I don't remember. I'm gonna just be honest about that. So I'm never gonna misquote anybody. But it was other things that he said, other accusations that he made, for sure, that were just outlandish. So, but yeah, Giselle, you would have wanted for your man, Giselle, to stand up for you and to defend you like Chris Samuels did Monique. You would have wanted for your man to have the love for you that Chris has for Monique. You would have wanted.
But don't you kind of agree with the I just want to say this really quick. I think it would have been more detrimental to Giselle and her whole position and the power that she has on the Real Housewives of Potomac had Jamal actually showed up and stood behind her, because Andy would have pulled out that extra yellow card that had all of those hard questions for Jamal, and they would have had to have figured out how to answer those questions together. And when you're sitting there for 11 hours, that can break somebody, especially somebody who's not used to filming a reunion, because we know that the reunions are tough. Can you at least agree with that it was probably better that he didn't show and that she handled this on her own?
I can only speak from how I feel. I would have wanted my man to be there. If my man had not showed up and been absent the majority of the season, at the very least, I would have wanted my man to be there for the reunion, to have my back, to be able to handle these individuals with me, and to be able to show that we are a union. We have a bond. And he might not have appeared on all of the other episodes, but at the end of the day, he has my back. And this is the statement that we're making. Him actually having my back and being there for me, regardless of what is asked by Andy or what's thrown at us from the other ladies. That's what I would have wanted. So.
Okay. And then before we move on from this whole topic of Monique and Chris, I just want to say there was one last comment that was made, and it was from Chris Bassett accusing Chris and Monique of going after his kids and talking about his family. But unless I missed something on the Real Housewives of Potomac, I never remember there being a moment of them attacking his family and his kids, unless it was on an Instagram live, or I'm just wondering if you know anything about that, and if you could help us shed some light on that, or if you were just as as the rest of us.
Yeah, Chris and Monique had never said anything about his kids at all. In that conversation that he brought up, it was woven in with when he was talking about a specific blogger, which is my friend. That's what he was talking about. And he was trying to say that Monique was paying Kyle and that she was giving him all this information. And then he brought up the whole his kids thing. Kyle, that was the behind the scenes thing that nobody knew. It was between Kyle and Chris. It was between Kyle and Chris Bassett.
Okay. Yeah, because none of us, everybody was kind of confused as to what could anybody have said about Chris and Candace's kids.
Yeah. And Kyle did, he mentioned Chris's kids in a way, like, I think he said something like, you need to be concerned about your kids or something like that. It was nothing like super, super nasty. They were they would always go at it, fall out, come back together, go at it, fall out, and come back together. It was like a love and hate relationship that Kyle and Chris had. But yeah, that was what Chris was talking about. And he tried to weave that in into the Monique and Chris Samuels conversation when it had nothing to do with them. Nothing to do with them. And Kyle should have never, his likeness should have never been brought up on this reunion. Like, it was just ridiculous. You all could have had a conversation without, putting Kyle in it. I mean, of course, everybody that knows Kyle and of the Black socialites, we know who you were talking about. It was clear.
Right. Okay. Well, I just want to end off talking about Chris Samuels and Monique with Chris saying one thing that really it kind of made me gasp in the moment. When he got up and finally walked off the set, when he said, you know what, hurt people. And it was like, wow, that felt like I felt that. And I was just like, and everybody around, like when they panned over all of the women, they were all just like, but those are powerful words, hurt people. And that's so true.
It's very true.
Okay. So going on, I don't want to pan over all of the other women as if they are not as important. Guys, 1850 in the room. Holy cow, we're almost hit our goal. That is crazy.
Thanks.
We did get some good feedback in this reunion, some positive stuff, and that was, Robin is finally supposedly getting married again, or that's just a reach to keep her on the show. But we did see where Michael Darby did allude to the fact that Juan would never actually propose to Robin again, because in some maybe drunken moment, he ended up letting Michael know, no, this isn't for me. I don't want to do this again. I'm pretty much fine with the situation. Do you think that conversation actually happened between Michael Darby and Juan?
I could see that conversation happening for sure.
Okay.
I could see that conversation happening for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And then speaking of marriages, there was a really touching moment for Karen, because I know that some of the women on the panel, especially when they're sitting around the room, some of them can definitely be actors in moments where there's some tears and there's some screaming and crying that seems very heightened for the cameras. But there was one moment here where, Ray Huger came out and said, next year's our 25th anniversary, and I would love to get married again, and kind of letting Robin know, let us know when you're getting married. That way we can plan around you guys and we don't have these clash. How did you feel for Karen in that moment?
I was so happy for her. I got a little emotional because I just felt like they opened up their relationship so much this season, and they've been through a lot. And for Ray to come around and break that news to Karen that, hey, I want to do a wedding for you. It was so heartfelt. And I just really felt like so happy for them both, genuinely happy for them both.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, I even kind of got choked up in that moment just watching her. And I do want to say, too, Andy gave it to Karen in this part of the reunion too, telling her she didn't walk off, she slithered off, and making a few comments to her that I was just really like, wow, you are not Team Karen in this episode. But Karen really rolled with the punches. We have a message here from Don W. Don, thank you so much for the super sticker. For those of you who think words don't have power, say that to the thousands of people who take their lives every year. Words have power, and Candace needs to take accountability for the horrible things that she says to people.
Thanks, Don.
Okay. I agree. When it comes to, real quick though, back to Karen, would you say that, you kind of were impressed with the way that she was able to kind of take it from every direction and then justify it with a smile and just a respectful response? She had a respectful response for everything. She could have lashed out in so many moments where she was getting called out, and she was getting called out because she did leave her own party and it did look sketchy, but she handled it with poise.
I was not surprised. I think that Karen is a star, and that girl's good. She's good. She's good.
Okay. And last two things, because I know that you're a busy guy. One, do you have any opinions about Dr. Wendy Osefo and Eddie being on the couch this third part of the reunion? Could you have left them? Did you need them? I feel like we didn't really hear too much from Eddie.
Yeah, I think that Eddie still trying to test the waters, you know, of being on TV. You could tell that he's there obviously in support of his wife, and he actually showed up to the reunion. Kudos. But I think he's just testing the waters and just trying to see how it goes. And, you know, hopefully season 6, he opens up a little bit more. But I really like Eddie. And even though they didn't really have a huge part at the reunion, especially on the third part, it was nice seeing them.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I have my own opinions when it comes to them. I feel like I just don't know, and it's not a bad thing. I just don't know if Dr. Wendy Osefo is reality TV gold. Maybe we'd have to see more. But Suzette did say, but did you hear what Andy said to Karen and Ray after the vow renewal comment? I've actually made that same comment on multiple interviews and on my recaps before of being a vow renewal being the kiss of death. I mean, look what just happened to Bronwyn. Look what happened to Shannon Bedore. Vow renewals are kind of the kiss of death. Now we have to watch the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and see what happens to Whitney Rose after she just did hers. But I want to end this off with, there was one moment at the end of the whole third part of this reunion where Andy Cohen goes around and addresses each woman and asks, you know, how have they grown from the situation? What did they take away? Did you notice anything about that moment?
Like what?
Did you notice that there was one person who didn't get to speak at the end?
Was it Robin?
No.
Who was it? I can't. It was just so much.
Unless I missed something, I didn't hear Monique get asked her last words at all. We'll have to go back and rewind it, and somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. But
I think she did.
I went back and I rewinded it. I played it again. He started with Dr. Wendy Osefo and went around the room. I did not see Monique say anything at the end, unless I totally missed it, which I could have. But I rewinded it and rewatched it again just to see, and I was like, "Where are Monique's last words?"
Is anybody commenting on it? Because I can't remember. He did.
Somebody said, yes, you're so correct. I don't know. I really don't think she did. I'll have to go back and rewatch it and just see, because if she didn't, I saw that, you know, another Bravo fan account was saying, you know, this was iconic because this was the first reunion that didn't actually talk about the first Real Housewives reunion that didn't actually talk about the cast trip. And I'm like, that's what's iconic. What about the fact that one of the housewives didn't get to speak and say anything at the end?
The entire reunion, RHOP season 5, was iconic.
Well, Dominique said she did. You missed it. And Nikiana also said she did say some last words. Okay, so I must have missed it, and I have to go back and say it because I don't want to put anything out there that's false.
Right.
And Shannon Simmons just said, you missed it, Adam. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, RJ, before we go, is there anything that you want to say about the Real Housewives of Potomac, what you're looking forward to next season, how you feel, any thoughts to close?
So I think that this season was one for the books, and for season 6, I don't know. I don't know how I feel right now. I'm still trying to process. So I don't have any thoughts on season 6 just yet. But this season, bravo.
Okay.
And if you guys would like to find me, I'm on Instagram at rj.allan. So that's rj.allan.
And it's right there also on his name tag, so you guys can check him out on Instagram. And also, I'm trying to sway him over. We didn't get the Real Housewives of Atlanta this week, which, by the way, I forgot to tell you that. But we didn't get the Real Housewives of Atlanta, so there's a few episodes in. Maybe if RJ has time out of his busy schedule and he catches up on the first few episodes, we might be able to steal him next Monday to recap the Real Housewives of Atlanta, because you guys are responding so well to RJ joining us. We didn't quite make 2,000, but I do want to say we got up to 1,925 people in the room, RJ.
Guys, thank you. Look at that, Adam.
I know, and that's probably, I think that's the most people I've ever had in the room for a live. So I just want to say you have so much love and support on here.
Wow.
You know,
Oh, Adam, we need to celebrate.
Yeah. We'll go celebrate after our faces aren't puffy from this stuff anymore.
I know, guys. Pray for us.
All right, RJ. Well, I appreciate you so much for jumping on. I know that you have a busy day, so thank you for carving out some time for us. We're sending you all the love, and everybody make sure you go follow RJ. There's 1,850, 1,900 of you guys in the room. Make sure you please hit that like button to show some love, and go follow RJ.
Thank you, Adam.
All right. We'll see you soon, RJ.